Good morning, everyone. It is now 9:03 a.m. and welcome to the Budget Finance Economic Development Committee. My name is Yukita Sugimura. I'm the chair of this committee, and I'd like to welcome everybody. As you know, this meeting is being conducted online in accordance with the Sunshine Law. And as a reminder, when your name is called, if you're not, well, none of us are in the conference room, please identify by name who, if anyone, is in the room, vehicle, or workspace with you today, and minors do not need to be identified. For the public, we are all working out of our office and out of the 8th floor chambers, no longer able to go to the 8th floor chambers because elections has taken over the 8th floor for ballot counting. So at this time, I'd like to welcome my Vice Chair, Batangan. Good morning.
Hey, aloha kakahia kakako.
Good morning. Councilmember Cook.
Aloha and good morning, Chair. I'm in my Kihei RAO. I'm in my office alone, and staff is in the front.
Good morning. Member Cook. Member Cook, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. I apologize. I spoke. Could you hear me now?
I'm sorry. Member Lee is excused for now. Member Paulton. Oh, I gotta go back to Johnson.
Aloha kakahia kakako, streaming live and direct from my kitchen table in the Pili. I have with me 2 minor canines, 2 minor humans, and 1 adult human, George Vieira, in the house. Thank you.
Good morning to your family at all. Member Johnson, good morning.
Good morning, Chair, council members, committee members. There's no testifiers here at the Lanai District office. I'm alone on my side of the office and I'm ready to work. Thank you.
Good morning. Member Rollins Fernandez.
Aloha kakahia kakako, my Molokai nui ahina. I'm at my private residence alone right now, but my minor age children will be back and will be at home with me. There's currently no testifiers at the Molokai District office. Chair.
Hey, good morning. Member Sinensi, good morning.
Aloha and good morning. Kako here at my home office. I'm here by myself, and there are no testifiers in Hanacha.
Good morning. Member Hodges will be joining us. So assisting us with today's meeting are the BFED committee staff as well as.
Hello, my chair.
Okay.
Sorry, can I interrupt? I forgot to say where I'm calling in from. So I'm in my office on the 7th floor and I'm alone in my workspace.
Okay.
And I'm also here now.
Oh, you're done with your call. Member
Yes.
Chair.
Good morning, everyone. I am here in my workspace alone, ready to go.
Thank you. Welcome. So from the administration, we have Managing Director is pending. I'm not sure if he has changed his mind.
Deputy Director Wade.
So Deputy Director Wade is here. Deputy Director Wade, thank you very much. Deputy Director of Finance, Budget Director, Deputy Director of Housing, and Deputy Corp Counsel role. To assist us today, we have also invited TBD, the FAST. Yes.
Sorry, representatives from FAST
Okay.
Enterprises.
We have representatives from FAST. Oh, I see what you meant. Okay. FAST Enterprise, who are assisting finance with the TAT system implementation. Members, if there are no objections, I would like to designate the FAST Enterprise LLC to be a resource person under Rule 18A of the Rules of the Council, based on their experience with the TAT software system and implementation item comes up there, the second item on the agenda. I need your approval.
No objection.
Thanks. Please see the last page of the agenda for information on meeting connectivity. Thank you, members, for attending today's BFED committee meeting. And we have 2 items on the agenda, which is BFED 42, Bill 81, 2025, amending Chapter 3.04 Hawaii County Code on Information on County Operations, and BFED 20, 20, Transit Accommodation, Tax Billing Collection, and Systems Update. That's the 17th. So at this time, do we have anybody signed up for public testimony?
Thank you, Chair. I currently see no one signed up for public testimony. However, if anyone would like to testify, can you please raise your hand on Teams or approach the testifier station in the lobby at the county building? Chair, I do have one person so far. If I could call them to present, their phone number, last 4 digits is 4925 or 4945. If you could please begin your testimony. Chair, would you like 3 minutes for these?
It would be 3 minutes, but let me just read my instructions. So testifiers wanting to provide testimony should sign up with staff, join the online meeting via Teams link, or call in to the phone number on our agenda today. Written testimony is encouraged and can be submitted with e-comment link at mycounty.us/agendas as well. Under the Sunshine Law, the chair will receive the testimony for agenda items at the beginning of the meeting and at the end, and also as the item is called up. For individuals wishing to testify via Teams, please raise your hand by clicking on the raise your hand button, or if calling in, please follow the prompts via phone using *5 to raise, and however, to lower your hand, *6 to mute and unmute. Staff will add your name to the testifier list in the order that you have signed up. If those on Teams, staff will lower your hand. Once your name is called, staff will then call the name you logged in under or the last 4 digits of your phone when it is your time to testify. At this time, staff will also enable your microphone and video. Please ensure your name appears on the Microsoft Teams as the name you prefer to be referred to, or as anonymous if you wish to testify anonymously. If you're in person, please notify staff that you would like to testify anonymously, and otherwise, please state your name for the record at the beginning of the testimony. Oral testimony is limited to 3 minutes per item, and if you are testifying beyond that time, you will be given another 30 seconds to complete. Once you are done testifying, or if you do not wish to testify, you can view the meeting on Kaku Channel 53, Facebook Live, or MauiCounty.us/agendas. We will do our best to take each person up in an orderly fashion. Will you please call up the first testifier, please?
Thank you, Chair. The first testifier today is on their calling in. Last 4 digits of their number is 4945. Testifier, please begin your testimony. Thank you.
Aloha, this is Jesse Law calling from the U-Haul in Kahului in the parking lot. That's it. Shit. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Aloha, ka'aha o ke kalana, the kahu vai kamike. And first of all, I'd like to comment on the procedure. I heard I'm actually able to join the meeting, which I'm grateful for. I have no visuals, so it's kind of like taking away 4 of my senses, and I only get 1, but I can hear you. And I was wondering about the procedure. I heard that Councilmember Cook is at the South Kihei Residency Office. Is it all right for people here? And the other day I heard that it was closed. So is the South Maui Residency Office open for testifiers? That's one of I know you don't have to answer the question, but I'm just throwing that out there for consideration. And yeah, and so I kind of heard what the agenda was about. I'm glad that this is on the agenda today. It's just about the PAT, which I'm a little bit familiar with. I think it's the transient accommodation tax, and it makes me have some hope for the future because it's, in my opinion, Maui County and the state is handling their own money instead of depending on the federal government for money. And the way things are going, we're going to have to depend on ourselves a whole lot more. So, Kingdom of Hawaii, and I hope the Royal House of Hawaii is still listening. And that's about it for my testimony today. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you very much. Anyone have questions for the testifier? See none. Next testifier, please.
Thank you, Chair. There's currently no one else signed up to testify. Would you like to do a last call opening testimony?
Yes, please.
Thank you. If anyone would like to testify before the meeting, please raise your hand on Teams or approach the testifier station in the lobby. If you would like to testify, I will begin the last call now. 3, 2, 1. Chair, I see no one else wishing to testify.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to close public testimony. We'll receive written testimony, members, and welcome Member Hutchins. Hi.
Hello, Chair. I'm in the PAIA office, and I have my staff members with me as well.
Okay, good morning. All right, so we've closed public testimony, and I will begin with our first item, which is BFED 42, Bill 81, 2025, amending Chapter 3.04 Maui County Code on Information on County Operation. And this is for development-related appropriations involving county-owned property. The bill would require disclosure of acquisition fund restrictions, state executive order requirements, entitlement conditions, and how any inconsistent use would be addressed. The bill is followed a required to use affordable housing fund money to develop county property acquired with open space fund. The county was not initially informed of the property's use and restrictions. So assisting us with today's development discussion today, we have Deputy Managing Director Aaron Wade, who is going to take lead on this. Is it Finance Department?
Good morning, Chair. We are all here. Leslie Milner's here as well to assist.
Okay. Anybody have opening comments regarding this?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I'm happy to make some opening comments.
Okay.
We have no objection to providing the additional information. As you are aware, when the body discussed Resolution 24-179 back in November of 2024, Councilmember Paulton did ask about the source of funding for this property. And at the time, Managing Director Nishita said that we would reimburse the open space fund if we move forward with affordable housing. But we have no objection to also providing that information in writing. My request would be that we get a little clarification. If it's a CIP, I think my intention would be to include it in Appendix C, if that works for the body. And if it were, let's say, an affordable housing condition, we would include it as part of the conditional language under the Affordable Housing Fund. But I just, for the record, would like that to be part of the discussion if the body's open to it, so we can make sure it's clear going forward if this legislation passes. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Deputy Managing Director, you have nothing more to add? See, you're still on the meeting.
Nothing further to add. Yep, all good. Thank you.
Okay, Guy Hironaka, Land Acquisition Officer, Budget Director spoke, and does Deputy Director Mataaba have any comments?
Aloha Chair and aloha BFED Committee. I wanted to give a brief update on where the department is right now with regards to that funding. So we are still in the pre-development phase where we're working closely with Ikai Kohana to draw up designs, plans, and to plan for infrastructure on the site. So that's kind of where we are at right now as a department from the Department of Housing standpoint. Thank you.
Thank you very much. No other comments. How about from Deputy Director Zelinsky? Any comments?
Thank you, Chair. We actually have Guy Hironaka available, and I'm going to punt to him to have him make some comments. Guy.
Mr. Hironaka, good morning.
Good morning, Chair. My comment is mostly about executive orders. Because of the process, if it's not for the use that it was given, we would have to review the executive order and then go back to either the Board of Land and Natural Resources and go through their process to have the property, they would have to reissue a executive order for the purpose that we would want it.
Okay, Thank you very much. So thank you very much for your opening comments. So at this time, I'd like to open public testimony for BFED 42. Any testifiers?
Thank you, Chair. There's currently no one signed up to testify ahead of time. However, if anyone would like to testify, can you please raise your hand on Teams by either using the raise your hand function or using *6 to raise your hand if you're calling in, or you can approach the testifier station at the location of today's meeting. Chair, I see no one. Would you like to give me a last call?
Yes, last call, please.
Thank you. If anyone would like to testify, please raise your hand now or approach the testifier station. Last call for testimony is 3, 2, 1. Chair, I see no one would like to testify.
Thank you. We're going to close public testimony for BFED 42. Receive written testimony, members, with your permission.
No objections.
Thank you. So we'll begin round one of 3 minutes each person to ask questions of the resource. So I'd like to open discussion. We'll start off with Shirley.
Chair, if you don't mind, I'd like to go last since I joined
Okay.
late.
Fine. All right. My assistant chair, member Batangan, do you have any comments or questions?
Sure. Thank you, Chair. Okay, so some of mine is background because I wasn't here in 2025 when Bill 33 was taken up. But can I get an understanding of what the current practice is from Corporation Counsel? So when you review the Bill 33 or bills like that, and there is an inconsistency in the proposed use and the authorized use of the land, do you sign it off to form a legality and then disclose what would need to be done in order to make the proposed use and authorized use compatible? Or like, what is the current current practice?
I see Corp Counsel popped up. Mr. Will.
Yep. Yeah, so I didn't review this specific one, but normally that is correct. We would look at the funding source that had been established. If we thought that there were inconsistencies, we would most likely contact someone in administration who was putting it forward to talk about, whether or not to find a different fund or to try and fix the inconsistency.
So when it would be transmitted to the council, it would either be fixed beforehand or you would sign off as to form a legality and then transmit a proposed fix so that it would be consistent. That's what I'm understanding?
I think we would usually try and make sure that it was consistent prior to it being transmitted.
Okay. And then is it your opinion that we need to figure out where in the budget the administration would need to disclose? Because I'm comfortable leaving it unspoken and then it just being communicated in the transmittal. But if there's a desire for more specificity, I guess I'd like to know whether or not that's absolutely necessary or if that's something that we need to take up now.
I mean, that's kind of a policy question. I'm fine with it either way, as long as it is sort of somewhat established, somewhere where it's coming from.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. That's all I have for right now.
Okay, thank you. So next in line is member Paul.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, that's fine. And then after that is member Johnson.
Thank you. Member Batangan was asking for background in history, and so like I can give you the background in history. My predecessor, member Cochrane, had when Pulelehua got its initial approvals from this body when none of us were on there, or maybe somebody was, I don't know, but not me. She had put in that because Pulelehua lands was supposed to be a park, and now that we were going to develop it for housing, or it was getting entitled for housing, she put in a condition that during the next community plan update that the county would be able to buy 50 acres of ag land at ag land prices from Maui Land and Pine because they're now going to be developing land that was in the previous community plan considered to be a park. So when I was on the council, I ensured that that condition was met after the West Maui Community Plan got its update in like 2022. So we purchased that 50 acres of land from Maui Land and Pine. Then when the fire happened, especially, and the administration wasn't going to help Pulelehua get built because of the desperate need for housing, I approached the administration about the potential of developing on county land there. And like Budget Director Milner said, like, we were all very clear in the meeting. I don't know, everybody that was paying attention, I asked, this is open space land, and so how are we gonna use it for housing? And then I think it was Mimi was the corp counsel that said, well, you're just gonna have to make the open space fund whole and do all the things. So I'm not sure what this is about because they never hid it from us. You know, we asked, they answered. I knew all along it was open space because we were the ones to purchase it for open space. And my thinking was, you know, there's areas in Front Street where the county owned property, like Lahaina Crossroads, where we're not building back in that location. So that's kind of, you know, the trade-off. There's other lands that are going to become open space just due to moving lands around. Also the Kahoma villages, I think, got some open space land with the situation with Michelle Lincoln and like that. So, I mean, I'm not sure, nothing was hidden. I don't, you know, if we want to build to say disclose it, but it wasn't hidden, it was disclosed, and everybody should know what was going on that's been paying attention and been part of the meeting. So I guess my question is like, what is this about? Like, are we saying that we didn't know what's going on? Because I knew what was going on.
Okay, thank you. So this is for clarity when we get bills to come to us. And then we don't have to have this discussion again. Next, Member Johnson.
Okay, I just was saying we can always ask and they don't lie or hide things from us. So just saying that as well.
Yeah, thanks. Are you done? Sorry.
Sure. Well, the other question I had was on Granicus. It talked about the land management administrator position and in items 2 and 3 from 2025, and I'm not clear what that has to do with this bill.
Okay. So that's a question for, is that a question for Corp Counsel?
I guess it's a question for whoever posted it on Granicus, like why are we why is the land management administrator information, what does it have to do with this bill? Like why was it posted in relationship to the bill? Like, I'm not clear on what it has to do with the posted bill. Does anyone know?
So, Kirsten, can you reply to that?
I can't remember offhand. I apologize. I think that at the time the letter was written, my understanding was that we just wanted to make sure if questions were asked that that finance might have the resources. There had been a position that had been created and still hadn't been filled at the time. And so when it was sent, it was just trying to make sure that resources were available to help if questions were asked, you know, from departments that were going to be submitting transmittals or if the budget director needed them. I don't think it was directly tied to the bill. That is my recollection from it.
Okay. And that information is from 2025. So is there any updated information? Like, is the updated information that the position has been created and it's filled and Mr. Hiranaka is the person? Because the information posted was from 2025 and this is 2026. So is that old, outdated information?
Okay. So we'll ask finance that question, but that's where he falls. And Deputy Director Zielinski.
Thank you, Chair. I don't have a
Thank you.
response for that. I don't know if Guy Haranaka can respond to that. Otherwise, we'd have to get back to you.
You don't know if the land management administrator position has been filled?
I'm sorry. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
That would be Guy Haranaka's position.
Oh,
Oh,
all right.
okay. So
Thank you.
he is the land manager. Director Martin popped up. Oh, she.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, the reorganization is completed. The position has been filled, and the current job title is Land Acquisition Officer, and that is under the Director's Office. Thank you.
Oh, it's under.
Thank you. Land acquisition officer. I'll try keep that in mind, even though 2019 we've been calling it land, whatever. Okay, got it. Land acquisition officer.
Thank you. Next we have Member Rollins Fernandez, followed by Cook, Wu, Hodges, and Sinensi.
Did you skip Member Johnson?
Oh, sorry, Member Johnson. Please go. Thank you. Then Member Rollins Fernandez.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
thank you. Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Member Rollins Fernandez. I'm trying to get to the impetus of why this is. It's just, are we just trying to like make the open space funds full? Can't we just throw affordable housing funds in there? Maybe you guys can explain to me, because I'm curious. So reading the bill, it just sounds like, making the open space funds full again. Is that really the intent of what you guys want to do?
So
Let me clarify this.
I can answer that. So the reason, the intent of the bill is to be sure that the funds we are using is in compliance with what is allowed per charter, right? Or the code. So that's what we're just trying to do, align things.
Okay, let's say I want to ask Corporation Counsel this. If it's already purchased and we need money to make open space back up to where it is that what you guys are trying to do? And if that's the case, can't you just use the Affordable Housing Fund, because this is going to push out affordable housing units at the end of the day? Am I incorrect or correct on that? And I see Deputy Director Matafa speaking on that. So, Mr. Rowe, and then if we could get from the department.
Is it Mr. Rowe or Mr. Deputy Director Matafa? Who would like to speak?
I'll defer to Deputy Mataafa.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Councilmember Johnson, for that question. So back in the FY27 budget discussions, the department worked closely with finance to determine what that amount would be to reimburse the open space fund. So there is an appropriation currently in the FY 2027 budget in the amount of $1.434 million that is set aside for the open space.
You don't need a bill to do this, right? You already did this. Oh, I see a bunch of heads popping up. It's confusing me. I'm sorry.
Are you done, Deputy Director?
Yes, I just wanted to state that there is funding for the reimbursement in the FY27 budget.
Okay. Yeah. Director Milner.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, council members. I just wanted to add, I think at least my understanding of the bill is separate from this property. That property was just sort of the driving force for the bill. And this bill would just codify that in future, if we sent down an amendment to the Affordable Housing Fund, or to the Affordable Housing Fund for funding on a project that was purchased with funds, any county funds, we would state what the funding source was. So it would have come down and said, Kai'ula'opili funds were purchased with Open Space Fund, and Open Space Fund will be reimbursed if this property is determined to be acceptable for affordable housing. And then that amendment would have gone forward. The other option is, if we already know it's going to happen, we will move those funds in advance. And then when it comes down, it will say Kai'ula'opili funds were purchased with Affordable Housing Fund. That's my understanding of the hope here.
So I heard the time, and I'll wait for second round. But Chair, if you allow me just to read 2 sentences into the record, the use of the affordable housing funds, because we worked on this when I was chair for housing, was the council may make appropriations from the affordable housing fund for the provision, protection, and expansion of affordable housing and suitable living environments, including rehabilitation of existing structures, land purchase, or other acquisitions of land or property entitlements, planning, design, and construction for residents whose income between very low income is defined in this section, the gap income as defined in the section. So it sounds like the use of the fund could cover this. I'm not sure why we're explaining that now. If we take it from this pot, we have to give to that pot, and here we got to tell everybody we're doing that. Is that the reason for this bill? Is just informationing or informing that you're moving money around?
Especially the open space fund in particular, because it has specific uses. And we want to make sure that those specific uses got right. So I just want to clarity from the beginning, transparency, which is kind of your song, right?
Right.
Member Rollins.
Okay, it sounds like they did it already, but if you, I'm ready for more discussion. I heard the time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Member Rollins Fernandez, then Cook, and then Hodgins.
Mahalo. Since you introduced this bill, Member Sugimura, is there another example or just that one example that was the impetus for this?
Yeah, that's what triggered it. So just
the one example.
Yeah.
Okay, because basically what Member Paulton and Member Johnson are saying is that transparency could be achieved through a written transmittal asking questions, and then the administration just responds to those questions and we post it on Granicus. And that same transparency would be achieved. And that this bill is unnecessary because all of this is already basically like required. So I don't know. This just seems to me like it's an election year, and Member Sugimura is trying to get a gotcha on Mayor Bisson's administration, and that's my read on it.
Please do not bring up the race. Please do not. This is not the right time.
Well, that's my read on it.
Person, which is
I can say what I want to say.
You can. That's not appreciated.
Yeah,
so thank
and
you.
I
Member
did.
Cook.
I wasn't done. Budget Director
Member Rollins Fernandez, you have more regarding the item?
I wasn't done. Budget Director Milner.
Please proceed with the item.
I am proceeding with the item. Budget Director Milner, mahalo. Do you see any advantages of passing this bill? Do you see any difference in us just requesting this information via written transmittal?
Thank you, Chair. And thank you, Councilmember Rollins Fernandez. I think that's going to be a policy discussion for you all, whether you would prefer it to actually be a part of the budget ordinance or if you are okay with it being a separate document. So whatever the body decides is their preference on that communication, we are happy to accommodate.
Okay. Mahalo, Budget Director. I'm Paul.
Member Cook, followed by Member Hodgins.
Thank you, Chair. A lot of my questions have been answered. I don't have any questions right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Cook. Member Hodgins.
Thank you, Chair. I too have no questions.
Thank you. Member Senensi.
Mahalo, Chair, just following up on some of the questions that's already been answered. For clarification, the funding has already been appropriated for this purchase. Yeah. Finance, Budget Director.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Senensi. Yes, the purchase that was the impetus for this bill in the fiscal year 27 budget, funding has been allocated from the Affordable Housing Fund to the Open Space Fund to repay the Open Space Fund. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that clarification. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Senensi. Chair B.
Okay, I have a couple of questions for the Budget Director. Leslie, can you tell me why the Open Space Fund was used rather than the Affordable Housing Fund at that time?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair Lee. Yes, when the property was initially purchased, the intent was to use the entirety as open space, but due to the significant need for affordable housing, particularly in West Maui, it was determined that this may be an appropriate site. We didn't do the reimbursement until this fiscal year because we wanted to ensure that the property was appropriate for affordable housing before moving forward with that reimbursement.
Well, by waiting to reimburse the open space fund, you're depriving that fund of the money it's supposed to have for the use it was created for, right? I mean, why the gap in time? Why didn't you reimburse it right away?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair Lee. Yes, we had to determine that the property could be used for affordable housing before the fund was reimbursed, because if it wasn't appropriate for affordable housing, it would have remained open space and it would have been an appropriate use of the open space fund.
Okay, but the money was already taken, or was it not taken from the fund already?
The funds were expended out of the open space fund when the property was initially purchased. Yes. And at that time, the intent was for the whole property to be open space. And then in the last couple of years, the determination was made to convert it to a portion of the property to affordable housing.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I can see the reason for, trying to get clarity and to have the correct code in place so that this type of confusion doesn't occur again. Because remember, we come and go, council members come and go, and so does the administration. So the sooner you deal with an issue, the better. But if there's a requirement, then there wouldn't be any lapse in time for implementation or correction or any of these things. So I can see why this was brought up. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else have any questions for round two? Member Batangan, then Member Fulton.
Well, thank you, Chair. And a couple of my members, I think I caused some confusion when I was asking about Bill 33, 2025. I wasn't trying to relitigate the matter. I was just trying to get background information as to what prompted this. So I apologize if the focus of our conversations veered off of Bill 81 and onto past action from the council. I'll start off by just saying that I find the disclosure requirements in this bill helpful. As Member Lee or Chair Lee said, members come and go, and I wasn't here on the body in 2025 when this happened. I can see future council members and members of the public finding it helpful to know if there are restrictions on the use of lands due to the funds that were used to acquire them. I do have one question for Budget Director. You said that transfers of funds could be made in advance of the transmittal to council. Is that correct? Because my understanding is that you wouldn't need to unless you were remedying a situation. But if the action wasn't approved by council, you wouldn't need to it wouldn't make sense to do a transfer in advance of the council taking action, right?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Batangan. I think there are a couple of different situations. Obviously, if there were any transfer, the council would have to approve it. I think, let's say we were in a situation where we purchased land with open space funds and all of a sudden we've determined that a portion is good for affordable housing, but we want to put it out to bid to get bids in to see who's going to be the contractor for that affordable housing. We would initially submit an amendment to the council to move the funds if we definitely know we're going to use them for affordable housing. We would put it out to bid, and then we would come to council to allocate the funding from the Affordable Housing Fund for the contractor who would be doing it. So that would be how it would work if we reallocated the funding in advance.
Okay.
The other way it could work is it would happen simultaneously. So we would submit a bill with both allocations in it.
Okay. And my reading of this is that the Bill 81 applies to all special purpose revenue funds used to acquire real property. Are there any others besides open space and housing that we need to be aware of?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember. I mean, we use all of our funds. I think, we use the solid waste fund to acquire landfill property, things like that. So let's say we had a CIP coming in that was going to use landfill property, but it wasn't a landfill. We would need to very clearly state that and maybe reimburse the solid waste fund or switch the debt service for a few years that it will be used for something else, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So and even more so, I would appreciate this. Like as a new guy, I don't always have background on some of the things that come before our body. I think it would be helpful for these kind of disclosures to be made up front because we may not know to ask. And there are some quirks with some of the special purpose revenue funds, and I think it'd just be more transparent for this body and for the public if those things are stated up front rather than members needing to know to put in writing before the department or before the administration. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Batangan. I think I also saw Member Fawcett. Did you have a question?
Thank you, Chair. I guess what I have to say is that all of this really did occur at the time that it happened. If you want to codify what happened, that's fine. But to Member Batangan's point, the only reason this is coming up again is because it already happened. Like, it's not something that we're dealing with currently because the administration was transparent in every step of the process. If we're saying future administrations may not be transparent with the process, then yes, by all means, let's pass this. I don't think it's a reflection on this administration because this is pretty much exactly how the process went. I was the one to approach the administration about the need for housing, about our acquisition of this property as open space, and I'm grateful that they took it seriously. Then they came in at every step of the process before they even started working with Ikaika Ohana. Like, does the council support us working with Ikaika Ohana to investigate if this would be appropriate for housing? And then we voted yes on that. And then they said, would you be willing to support pre-development funds to go through the details of it? And then we said yes. So I mean, this bill is just kind of codifying everything that happened back in 2024, 2025. And if the concern is that future administrations are not going to be as transparent as this administration, then I guess, yes, we should pass it. But I also think that these are standard questions that any body with fiscal oversight should be asking at the time that it goes down. Putting it in the transmittal, I guess, would be helpful, but not always every time everyone reads the transmittal. So, if we want to go forward with it, because we're not sure that future administrations are going to be transparent, sure, let's do it. But I just want to be clear in saying that this is exactly the process that happened in 2024, 2025, and before, because, we went through the purchase of the property. So I guess that's my discussion for when the motion happens. I already did it in discussion before the motion.
Okay, anybody else? Member Cook.
Thank you, Chair. My question for the Budget Director, Ms. Milder. The property that we put money in for Kihei, the 13 acres, when I was reviewing and proposing that, the discussion was whether to use open space or highways or housing, and I'm just for clarity. At the time, I was told, I thought that if you can't use open space funds unless it's for open space, and if you're intending to do something else with it, then you shouldn't use open space funds. So, which is logical. So I was thinking what we're discussing now is sort of like, is there a mechanism to make that change, like that people are familiar with? Or because purchasing a potential piece of property for affordable housing when there isn't a current plan, but you want to secure the property and you don't want to make it a park. So open space seemed to be somewhat of a catch-all that then the county would have that in inventory to potentially work with somebody to do an affordable housing project. So could you comment on that, please?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Cook. Yes, I remember our discussion. Yes, I think the point I was making at the time is if you already know when you're purchasing the property that your intent is not to use that property or the entirety of the property for open space, the preference would be, okay, we're going to use 75% open space because that's going to remain park and 25% affordable housing because we know we can develop that as affordable housing. So in this instance, our intent really was for it to be open space at the time it was purchased, and then circumstances changed. So we do have that flexibility, as we've seen, if 5-10 years down the road something changes. But if at the time of purchase we know the entirety of the property isn't going to be used for open space, it's really not an appropriate use of the fund.
Okay, no, thank you for that explanation. So it is appropriate if a council member is for their district asking the body to consider funding purchasing a piece of property to identify the portions of the property that may be used for different aspects of it. And that would be the funding mechanism for it, even though the zoning and there may be a lot of things that are not in alignment with that, but it's just sort of going on record. This is the projected intent. And then if it's purchased, it could be modified in the future.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Councilmember Cook. Yes, I think that would be appropriate. And then in your circumstance, let's say we purchased a parcel that we intend to use for affordable housing, but for some reason the zoning isn't approved, then we could pay back the affordable housing fund if it won't move forward with the intended use.
Okay, thank you for the clarity and that. And you did a really good job communicating that. And it's a matter of, this is helping me understand that there is versatility possible. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else have questions? Member Batangue.
Thank you, Chair. Sorry, one last one for Corp Council. So under 3.04.020 section B2, it talks about restrictions applicable to the fund's authorized uses, or alternatively, how inconsistency will be rectified. And the rectification mechanism that we've been discussing has to do with reimbursement from a different fund. Is that a allowable way to circumvent restrictions through funds? Like if I was a member of the public and I saw that a property was acquired through open space fund, I would assume that gave it some level of protection. But if a legislative body can then just swap the fund being utilized to acquire it to eliminate those restrictions, I think it might be a little disappointed. So I just want to make sure that the rectifications that we're discussing are all legal.
Mr. Mill.
So I think the important thing to remember, right, is kind of whether or not the property can be used for the specific purpose in the revenue fund. In this case, it was available for open space treatment, and the determination as to its availability for affordable housing was done later. So at the time the initial resolution came through, it was a legal use of the fund. If there's a change in planning as to how the fund is going to be used, basically the switching of the fund or the funding mechanism to a different fund goes through the council, so the council ultimately, has the approval of it. But at the time of the purchase, right, the use was consistent.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Rowe.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Okay, seeing none. So at this time, then I'm going to recommend passage on first reading of this item. Excuse me. And
So moved.
okay. Thank you, Bill 81, 2025. Thank you. Chair Lee made the motion and second by Member Cook. Any further discussion? Seeing none, is this roll call? Member Ramos Fernandez.
Mahalo. Yeah. It's fine. I think I can be supportive of this, and just mahalo to the Bissett administration for doing what this already says, doing what this is setting out for future administrations to follow. I think we went over hypotheticals of like how this could be affected with the acquisition of certain special funds. I guess is a good exercise for council members catching up on how special funds can be used and how it can be changed. And I thank Mayor Bisson and his hardworking administration for collaborating with the council throughout this one example. And in another example that Member Cook provided. And it'll be good for future administrations to be held to the same standard that the Bisson administration already followed. Mahalo.
Thank you. Member Johnson.
Thank you, Chair. It's funny, I wanted to share the same sentiments. I want to thank this administration for being transparent on this, even with they didn't have to by code. I want to thank Ikaiko Ohana for stepping up. I mean, they've been building a lot of homes on the west side, which is so important. And the fact that we had a builder and administration that worked quickly after the fires to find a place. It wasn't the best place. Remember, it was for open space, but in times of crisis, you got to act like it. And I felt that they found a way, and they even kept us on the up to date on it, and were transparent about it. So thank you, administration. Thank you, Kaika Hana. And if this is a way to keep it more transparent, then for future evidence, and sure, why not? But I think there's a lot of more work to do in other topics, and I'm ready to move forward. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Member Hodgins.
Thank you, Chair. Just as an FYI, Director Mitchell asked me to schedule an update for these projects in HOU. So we'll be doing that next month, and we can continue the conversation on the status of this project. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much. Member Paulson, did you have your hand up, please?
Thank you. As others have said, I can be supportive of this. I think we do really need to focus on the big troubling issue at hand, which is, these LIHTC projects, low income tax housing credit projects, especially if they're on 201H lands, are on the HHFDC schedule and not on the county's HUD schedule, which is actually about $223 more than the county's HUD schedule, and they've been notified in August. A lot of them, their rents are going up by $200. Utility increase is coming up in October, which I've heard could be, usually it's $4 to $6, but in this case, because of all the things, it might be $50 to $100. So now our low income tenants that are on 201H project properties that are going through HHFDC affordable rent guidelines are looking at a $200 to $300 a month increase. That, these are low income folks earning 60% and below of what the area median income is. And we're talking about elderly, we're talking about people on fixed incomes, we're talking about single parents. just because HUD says you can qualify by making more money doesn't mean their bosses are going to say, hey, HUD says you can make more money to make your ends meet. We've got people in Lahaina that went from a 60% AMI when they qualified to a 40% AMI and are now paying 60% of their income to pay rent. These are the serious issues that we need to work on. I've been trying to coordinate with Maui United Way to do a GAP program, but that's only going to last so long as their money holds out. And instead, we're trying to like pass bills about transparency that already happened. Like, we need to address the issues that are causing people strife right now. All the low income properties on 201H projects are looking at like a 200 to 300 increase per month. And that's on top of what this council approved for water rate increases, sewer rate increases, 9%. And this is not getting us closer to addressing the problem. So I don't know, I've been trying to work for West Maui. I don't know what else can be done, but I'm putting it out there. There's 9 of us to put our heads together and try and figure something out. The Alice money hasn't been released. It's going on year 2. And so we're in dire straits. And this is kind of like a side thing that we're already doing. So, I mean, let's try and do some real stuff here, folks. Thank you.
So thank you for bringing out, which is really not on this agenda, but is happening in the community, especially with the many
It's
people.
related to the topic at hand, which is, you know,
It's related.
the project.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I'm going to call for the motion, the call for the vote. Is this roll call or are you fine? All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. So we have 9 ayes, motion carries. Thank you very much. So you want to take a break? I'm going to continue on. It's about 10 o'clock. All right.
10-minute break.
Go on. You want a break? Okay. I'm going to take a 10-minute break, come back at 10:10. Thank you. welcome everybody back to the BFED committee. It is now, it is 10:11 and 10:11. Welcome back. And so we're going to be taking up the second item, which is really an update of the TAT collection and process. So there's no legislative action which will be taken. This is a 7B. So assisting us today, which is Deputy Director Zelinsky, Paul Nadhart, Revenue Manager, and representatives from Bass Enterprise LLC. Deputy Director Zelinsky, thank you for joining us. Thank you for letting us use your conference room, by the way.
You're very welcome. Chair, would you like some opening remarks?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The good news is TAT software implementation project is actually progressing and is on schedule, and actually it currently is a week ahead of time. However, I've been told that a few people are taking vacations in the future, so we figured that 1 week, being ahead is we'll kind of be right at where we need to be, right on time. Billings and collections are in progress for both current taxpayers, but also for prior years. As you know, there was a lot of prior implementation work that had to be done. We have like about 15,000 taxpayers for TAT. Right now, we have a new revenue manager, Paul Neidhart, who is available, and he's available for questions as well. But he's also developed policies and procedures that hadn't actually existed before for TAT. He's worked with Corp Counsel on this, so we really feel very comfortable with how it's operating right now with TAT. There's a lot of data scrubbing that's still being done. So, as I say, 15,000 taxpayers. Currently, I'm just trying to hit the high points of what your questions were in the letter. There are 6 employees that are in TAT, but we have 1 vacancy right now. So there are 5 active employees right now. We do have 1 position that we're waiting on DPS to, I think they have to, it's a new position, so they have to do the research or whatever, but it's a tax auditor 4. It's a very critical position. So we're hoping that we can get that filled sooner than later, because that'll, it's a high level and we'll be able to achieve even more than we have already. With regard to the quarterly reports, and that's under Maui County Code 3.47.190. This is all the required information that's been included in there as far as reports that relate to the districts, to the residency areas, that sort of thing, and receivable information, that sort of thing. We anticipate that once we go live, which will be in October of this year, that this will become available. Now, keep in mind, we do have to have the taxpayers register under the new system. And a lot of the new information, or a lot of the information as they register, will be new, because the old system did not request some information, like the TMK, for example. That'll give us a lot of information. And interestingly enough, the state doesn't even ask for the TMK. If they had, our lives would be a lot easier. So as they register, we'll have that. We'll be able to implement these additional requirements. We'll have it, but we want to have enough people registered under the new system. And as I say, we'll be doing different correspondence and that sort of thing. But I suspect it'll take a little bit of time. That's pretty much it. We do have Paul Neidhart, who is our revenue manager, available on the call right now. And we also have Kara Beck and Jacob Beck, who are the 2 folks that are overseeing the Fast Enterprises implementation project. And they are in Hawaii, and they have been on site in Maui as well when needed for testing and that sort of thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Director. Mr. Neidhart, would you like to give some opening comments? And by the way, welcome.
Oh, Chair, this is Tamara. Before we go on to Mr. Neidhart, I just wanted to clarify what I heard Deputy Zelinsky said. It's a clarifying question. Did you say 15,000 units?
15,000 taxpayers.
15,000 taxpayers. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Neidhart.
Aloha and good morning, Chair, council members. Nothing further to add to Deputy Director Zielinski's comments, but can definitely provide some greater depth based upon where your questions are.
Okay. Anybody else has a comment? None. All right. So at this time, I'd like to take public testimony. Staff, are there any testifiers who signed up?
Yes, Chair, we do have a testifier signed up.
Please proceed.
Thank you.
Identify yourself by name.
Our first testifier is Mr. James Langford. Mr. Langford, if you could please, sorry, let me promote you and begin your testimony in just 1 second. Thank you, Mr. Langford. Please begin your testimony.
Aloha. Very grateful for the work you folks are doing. I had a different testimony prepared, so I'm going to reserve my time. Thank you. God bless you.
Oh, that was your whole testimony. All right. So no questions for the testifier. Any other testifiers?
Thank you, Chair. There's currently no one else signed up to testify. Would you like to do a last call?
Yes, please.
Thank you. If anyone would like to testify on this item, please raise your hand on Teams using the raise your hand function or by dialing *6 on your phone, or please approach the testifier station here at the meeting place. This is the last call for testimony. 3, 2, 1. Chair seeing none, no one else would like to testify.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to close public testimony, receive written testimony on this item. Members, with your permission.
No objections.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Member Cook and everybody. So at this time, I'd like to go through questions from the members. I'm going to start off with Chair Lee and then go to Member Batangan.
Okay, well, Maria, congratulations on catching up. I know we've been behind, unfortunately for several years now. Do you see any trends occurring with the collections? Is it more or is it less? Is it coming from the east or the west? Is it coming from the south? What are the trends?
I'll just first, I'm going to actually have Paul address this in a moment, but I do want to mention that, yeah, we're very pleased and we've made a lot of progress because of Paul and his staff. They're working very, very hard, tirelessly, I have to say. So, a lot of kudos to him and his staff. But having said that, I'm going to have Paul respond. He has been working actively on looking at scrubbing the information, looking at where we have the receivables and where we have payables. There are accounts where we owe money. In fact, we had a few large checks we had to make out to some of the
to who? Like to who for what?
I'm going to let Paul. I don't know if he can mention the name. Maybe just mention the area, Paul.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Paul.
Chair, Councilmember Lee, yes, we are not allowed by law to share specifics on taxpayers, but it was a large taxpayer in West Maui that we issued a recent check for.
Oh, I thought you meant like office supplies. Oh, we made a mistake on a taxpayer. We overcollected.
No, this is actually a taxpayer paying in full, but then later, based upon our interpretation of the statutes, we actually owed them a refund because it didn't actually qualify as a short-term rental. It was under a long-term contract.
Oh, okay.
That we refunded them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. But I just wondered, what are the other, besides expenses, what about the income? What are the trends on revenues?
I'd say we're still trending at the $70 million a year in annual revenue. Now, obviously, that's based upon, because we're a lagging indicator, we're ultimately as successful as the taxpayers' businesses are. But once we have the data, enough data for properties, we'll be able to get more granular in terms of what districts that revenue is coming from.
I see. Thank you.
And Shirley, if I can just add to Paul's, is that, the new system will enable us to do better compliance. Right now, the tools we have we just don't have the tools to know if there are people that should be paying that are not paying. And Paul has plans to be working with planning department and other departments in the administration where we can determine if there are properties or people that are not paying. But right now, we've got nothing, without the information. So we do have.
Okay, so how far are we, like 1 year behind? Year and a half behind? What?
Well, we're current, but let me have Paul address that.
Okay, we're current. Okay. All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Newhart, before I move on, did you want to add a comment?
My only comment is that we're still continuing to reach out to taxpayers and inform them of outstanding taxes and penalties and interest and such. And then it's a matter of the collections piece where we're ensuring that we're reaching out to the taxpayers, ensuring their information is current, ensuring that they pay their own account, there's no errors either on our part or on the taxpayer's part, but ultimately providing as clear a picture as possible on their account balances, which will become instantly available to them at scale once the new software goes live.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chair Lee. So next we have Member Batangan, followed by Paulton, Johnson, Rollins, Fernandez.
Thank you, Chair. Deputy Director Zielinski. So I've read through the responses that your department provided to this body. Can you give us a little bit more detail about the policies and procedures that have been created to administer the collection of TAT taxes?
Okay, I'm gonna have Paul, since Paul was hands-on on this one. Paul, if you could just at high level just address the policies.
Yes, I don't, I can provide a complete roster in writing, but think of these policies as writing out standard operating procedures on how we review refunds, how we evaluate penalties and interest owed, how we actually implement some of the grandfathering we've been dealing with taxpayers who potentially could exclude income that was received from reservations that were made before the program started. Just a lot that hadn't been documented and put into writing that can then be, enforced. It can be transparent, and ultimately, I'm being clear with my staff and taxpayers on how we do things as an office.
Okay, back to Deputy Director. What is the statutory authority that lets the county collect TAT taxes?
That would be the Maui County Code. Is it 3.47190, I believe? That's 3.47.
Okay.
And the interesting thing, Council Member, just to mention to you, is that what we did find in Paul looking to delve into this and work with Court Counsel is we found, thankfully, I probably shouldn't say this, but it was very general as far as how it was written. So we were able to achieve a lot of the policies that we needed to achieve, staying within the guidelines, if you will.
I guess the generality is why I'm asking. And so, Corporation Counsel, can you come online, please? I'm concerned that some of the activities described extend beyond what's permissible under policies and procedures and extend to what should have been done through the rulemaking process. Can you opine that, or can you confirm that everything described by the department complies with HRS Chapter 91?
I would really have to kind of look back if you wanted a full answer.
Can we transmit that question in writing? Because this is starting to feel like the presentation we got from the Office of Economic Development when they were implementing new rules for grants, where I think that there's some confusion as to what needs to be done through the rulemaking process and what needs to be done through policies and procedures. But can we just transmit a question to the department confirming that everything that they're implementing to collect the TAT taxes can be done through policies and procedures, and that we are being compliant with HRS Chapter 91.
Thank you. OCF will send that written correspondence. Thank you, From Batangan. Excuse me. So next we have Member Halton.
Thank you, Chair. My first question is to clarify that we collect TAT from 4 classes, which would be hotel, timeshare, STR, and commercialized residential, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. And then I was wondering if under the chair's signature, we can get the timeshare and hotel data, like how we're provided in this RPT booklet. It says TVR, STRH class count by value and council district. If we could get that for timeshare and hotel, because it wasn't included in our real property tax certification booklet for fiscal year 2026. And then my other question is when Deputy Zielinski mentioned 15,000 taxpayers, are we counting like one hotel with so many units as one of the 15,000 taxpayers? So the
Yes.
unit number is much larger. Do we know the entirety of the unit number?
I don't personally. I don't know, Paul. Would you know offhand? Probably not. Because that's just one account.
Okay, so but if we have the breakdown, would it have it or not really, because it would still treat one hotel as however many units? Okay.
But council member, you were saying that, so you were pointing to the report for real property tax, but I didn't understand your question. Were you looking for the TAT relating to those? I wasn't sure.
No, I'm looking for the class count by value and council district, because we have like owner occupied, non-owner occupied, STR, commercialized residential. I'd love to see the class count by value and council district for hotel and timeshare as well, if possible. And then could you clarify, was it we have 3 years or was it 5 years to reconcile?
Is it, Paul, is it 3? It's 3, yeah? That's what I thought. Okay.
Okay, and so you're saying that we're current on up to 3 years ago, and every year that passes, we have 3 years. And so we don't anticipate any issues with meeting that 3-year deadline on collecting.
No, right now, currently, Paul and his staff have actively been working on getting all that information. Now, whether things slip through the cracks, hard to say. There's going to be some. We know that. Yeah.
And then, as Paul was saying that, they're going to have to fill out this new form with new information. And in that way, it's kind of like self-reporting. I know that if they operate illegally, there's a $20,000 fine. What is the consequence for not filling out these forms in a timely manner, or just not complying? The ones that are already on the list of whom we're collecting from, it would be easy to cross-check. But if there's ones that aren't on the list and they don't fill out the paperwork, is there a penalty? And is that something that you need us to codify, like that there is a penalty?
I'm not sure. I'd have to look. I'm not sure. Paul, would you know offhand of non-compliance? We're kind of not at that point yet where we've been able to identify non-compliant taxpayers. But would you know offhand, Paul?
Yes, Chair, council members. So we do rely on the state because they have an enforcement arm where they actually can investigate and potentially find if folks aren't reporting against their TAT liabilities. Ultimately, under the current statutes, we do have negligence and fraud penalties that if we do receive filings after the fact, all those can be applied based upon, why they filed so late. But currently we don't have the capacity nor the remit to actually go out and potentially find folks who are not reporting against the TAT taxes. But as we start to gain that more clarity into where the income is being derived from the properties, that offers some opportunities to cross-reference with real property, with planning, and potentially find those taxpayers who may be underreporting, may not be reporting, but that's a year or two down the line after we're able to take care of all the taxpayers who do want to do the right thing and are trying to do things to the best of their abilities.
Thank you. I did hear the bell, and I'll come around for a second opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Johnson, followed by Member Rollins Fernandez.
Thank you, Chair. Much of my questions have been asked and answered already. I just want to show my support once again for this TAT to be used to mitigate some of the climate change disasters that we've been facing. We have a hurricane barreling down our throats right now. We just saw some wildfires over the weekend. This money could be used to offset some of the climate change. But we went a different route, and that's 70 million now. I just think come next budget season, we have to allocate where it's going to go. And I thought it would have been a great use of the fund to kind of work on things like that. And I don't have any questions at this time. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Member Johnson, followed by Member Rollins Fernandez, Hodgins.
Mahalo, Chair. And mahalo to the administration for their continued work on this. So just a little bit of background in response to Member Batangan's question regarding statutory authority. So in the 2021 session, the legislature passed a bill that became HRS 237D-2.5, and that established the county transient accommodation tax and the administration of it, which required the counties to then establish a process within our code. In 2021, December of 2021, we passed Bill 101, 2021 to amend Title III to establish a new 3.47 transient accommodation tax rules on collection, processing, appeals, penalties, etc. The counties were not required under HRS 237D-2.5 to establish rules under Chapter 91 rulemaking process, because we're a rulemaking body. Our rules are established under code. And so that's what 3.47 is. And that's where you would find the information on how we collect on transient accommodation tax. You find all the definitions, you'll find all the processes, appeals. It's all in 3.47 if you have questions on what the process is. And that gave the public an opportunity to provide us feedback when establishing the process through testimony. And it continues to just be in the code. And if we need to make amendments, then we can take testimony. But that's where it is. We're not required under Chapter 91 to establish rules. Our rules are in the county code. Mahalo, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, we have Member Hodgins Sinensi.
Chair, could you repeat that?
Oh, you're next.
Okay, I just wanted confirmation. Thank you. So, Director, do we currently have visibility when we look at the properties, how much it's being paid to the state and how much is the county share, so that we have an understanding of the total net tax revenue from a property?
Well, we do, Chair, we do receive the information from the state, so we would be able to see that, but it's not something we collect or accumulate, but it is available. I mean,
well, I'm curious for us to know how much the percentages on the state, on the county, Is it the total amount of TAT paid, and then the 3%, I believe, is the county's portion? Is that correct?
We're getting, well, the state is there's two separate filings. The taxpayer sends a return to the state, and then they send one to the Maui County. So there's two. And the taxpayer that sends to the state is paying 11%, which is tremendous compared to what we get. We're getting the 3%. So we don't see them. You never see it on a total. Okay. It's just one separate report for the state, and the other one is separate for Maui County. As I say, TAT receives what's filed from the state, but I don't see that we'd have that available if somebody said, hey, what's this taxpayer paying the state? That would be available. But.
Okay, sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
Okay.
So the reason I'm asking the question is because if when we take a certain number of transit vacation rentals out of the market, it's the state. I mean, the county has an impact, and that's what we've been addressing and mapping to date. But there's also a substantial amount of state revenue that isn't being paid. And I'm just trying to have visibility and impact. I'm not really going one way or another. I'm just saying that this process that we've initiated to terminate some short-term rentals for housing. So we're not necessarily mapping that. We're just addressing the 3%.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's to simplify it. We have no reason to know what the state is getting, but we can easily determine it. Yeah.
Yeah. My next question is, by us catching up, was it a purchase utilizing new software, or was it principally additional staffing?
It was just a lot of hard work. He doesn't have any more people. We're talking about people putting in a lot of extra time and overtime, in fact, as well. But, it's a great group. They're working very hard. They see progress, and that's really what it comes down to. No additional people. Yeah.
Thank you very much, and appreciation of the staff. I heard the bell, Chair.
Thank you. Member Uhajas Senetsi.
Thank you. Thank you guys for your presentation and being with us today. Earlier, you said that the new software is going live. When is it going live?
It's going live in October. I think October 6th. Is that correct, Paul? The 5th. Okay, I got it wrong by one day. Okay.
Cool. Thank you. And then I'm curious, how much money did we have to reimburse, and does that affect our estimated total that we assumed we were going to collect?
You mean as far as when we're making adjustments? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, and earlier, to the unnamed taxpayer for this T&T, we cut a large check. About how much money did we have to reimburse, and does that affect our anticipated $70 million of annual TAT revenue?
Councilmember, I don't see that it'll have any impact. The one that we were talking about on the west side was about $1 million change, but it shouldn't have any impact. But Paul, any comments that you wanted to add to that?
So no impact. Okay.
I don't see any. Anything, Paul, that you would think?
Well, just to give you ratios, in terms of accounts receivables, the amounts of money that are still outstanding based upon our current books, it's about 2 to 1 in terms of the amounts that are accounts receivable versus accounts payable versus refunds going out. So yes, in terms of a month-to-month cash flow, there may be some fluctuation, especially for this was one of our top 20 taxpayers that pays a majority of the taxes due. But in terms of the overall amount received over the years, and especially as we start to collect more on past years, I don't see it affecting that overall $70 million estimate.
Yeah, net it should be okay. Yeah.
Okay. Could you provide us an estimate on how much money we needed to reimburse this? I know you just said million something, but all the other taxpayers, how much did we have to reimburse?
In terms of the total amount of refunds we've issued, say, this year, in the last fiscal year?
Yeah.
It was, this one refund was, I would throw out a number, 90%, 95%. It was
Oh,
a
okay.
significant amount of money. Most of the
Okay.
refunds we issue are, you know, double payments, a few $100s. This was a significant amount of money.
So just a little bit over $1 million if that one was 90% or so.
More, it might have been 98%. I'd have to look to see the total amount of refunds.
I was
we
just
issued.
curious of a rough estimate. Okay. And then in the future, when you do have to reimburse certain taxpayers, how would you folks let the council know, like, hey, FYI, we had to repay back this person $1 million something dollars?
Chair, I don't think that we would necessarily, first of all, any taxpayer information has to be confidential. So we couldn't tell you that, you know, Maria Zielinski paid back blah, 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 or whatever. Yeah. But I think we'll have once we have the system in place, it should be very easy to say we received this much revenue, but we also issued these many refunds. Okay. That should be very simple. Yeah.
That's fine. I mean, obviously we spend a month together in budget, so there'll be ample time to talk about this.
Yes.
But I feel like this is just our first time we learning we have to reimburse quite a significant amount. So out of just moving forward, I think it would be important for us to just get an FYI.
Got it. I don't think
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Uhad. Next, Member Sanansi.
Mahalo, Chair. Mahalo, Deputy Zielinski, for that report. I just set up, are there two different dates that we're collecting a TAT?
Not sure, Council Member.
When do we normally collect those, or is it ongoing? Or is it that we deposit, or when we count it?
Some guys go monthly.
It's a
some
monthly.
Guys go quarterly.
Yeah, it's sort of like GET. It depends on the amount that you have. If you're a small operator, it might be semi-annual. Others are monthly. The larger, ones are monthly. And it's usually the due date is the 20th of the month. So we tend to see more monies coming in at that time of the month.
Okay, thank you for that. And then I'm kind of the same mindset as Chair Lee. Kind of wanted to see some of the trends, just anticipate and see some forecasts. I know Riley does some great AI generated spreadsheets that would kind of give you an idea. So that was just kind of if we can look at it from a more distant lens, then that'll help us as policymakers. But I appreciate the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Council Member.
Thank you, Member Sanansi. So I have a question. Fast Enterprise LLC, I think Mr. Newhart was saying that this is the same software used by the state of Hawaii. Is that correct? Oh, good. And they don't collect for us. And I think it was also said that we add in TMK numbers and theirs does not. So
the state doesn't collect TMK numbers. They just have an address. So many times there's some issues or identification issues, and that's why we want to have the TMK, and also to be in compliance with the request to have, by residency or whatever, we need the TMK. Otherwise, certain addresses, might be Wailuku, it might be, some of them are right on the border, and it's hard to tell which is which. But the TMK would nail it. So that's the reason. So that'll take a little bit of time because it's, we can transfer over all the taxpayer information, but the TMK, they may have some. I'm not sure if they do or they don't, but they're going to need to get that from the new registration, from the new system.
Oh, so we are using it and the state is not, right? Is that
correct?
And it sounds like it's something information you would think they would. Do you think this would maybe involve a question as to the state of Hawaii as to why they're not, and possibly are they looking at implementing this wise decision also, like finance is doing right now?
I don't know. I know Paul. Oh, Chair. Yeah, Paul, I know talks to a lot of the counties and also the state. I'm not sure. I mean, they haven't been particularly cooperative, but Paul, I don't know if you have anything you can add to that.
I mean, we're actually about to, next month, we'll be having a all counties meeting with the Department of Taxation. That is one of the topics of discussion, specifically kind of what we're doing with Vast Enterprises. Ultimately, we're beholden to the state for providing these filings and us being able to, determine what taxes are owed because of that. But then there's also kind of ongoing discussions about what collaboration opportunities there are. If they conduct an audit at the state level, do they inform us? Do they share information if they find that, worst case example, some fraud is being committed? Ultimately, as it is currently, the only data that's transmitted to us are those filings, and there's not that collaboration piece. It's kind of on each individual county to enforce and collect taxes as they see fit.
Okay.
And Chair, I should mention, there's a 60-day delay in what the state provides to all of the counties, not just us.
Okay. Very good. So before Paul, and when we were in finance trying to collect the TAT, are there any fees that were not collected that is too late that we cannot collect? I think as we were setting this up from 2021.
Chair, I'll have Paul respond, but let me just say that I suspect there's some that have fallen by the wayside only because, it's just a matter of number of people and the amount of work that was accumulated prior to Paul arriving. And even before that, I mean, it was an overwhelming task. So I would have to say that I'm sure there are some, but Paul, I don't know if you want to address that.
There will, I mean, without trying to obfuscate, there are some taxpayers who were not, who we need to do an investigation into our records to determine whether they were assessed prior to the expiration of the statute of limitations. And part of one of the policies that I sent to the director for her approval and signature was kind of what is our due diligence in terms of determining whether a taxpayer is assessed or not, and whether we then need to basically just write off that tax owed. Because if it were to go to a tax appeal court, worst case scenario, do we have documentation to show that we were meeting the statute of limitations of the statute? But as far as the exact amounts and how long this will take, it will definitely be a process. And there are definitely some taxpayers from 2021 that, would be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that's why, I need to do all the work on my end to ensure that, we're looking through email archives, we're looking through mailings that were sent out to determine okay, do we have standing to be able to say, no, we did assess you prior to the statute of limitations. But that will be an ongoing project.
Good job. So that's it. Second round, Chair Lee, you're first.
Yeah, thank you. So Paul, I just want, since you're new, I just want to let you know, when you're in grade school, what happened in the 90s is that the state decided to take a certain percentage of our TAT, and since then they've taken more. So when you meet with them, you have to be careful. Don't tell them we were very successful. You have to make them feel bad that they should not be taking any more money from us. Yep. And then Mr. Senensi, you made my grandson's day. So he will give you any and all reports you'll ever need. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Very good. Member Batangan, Paulton, Johnson, any more questions?
Thank you. I'll start off by saying that I had read chapter 3.47 because it's cited in the department's response. I would still like that written response from Corporation Counsel on the matter. Deputy Director Zielinski, so can you clarify, we collect TMKs but not addresses? Is that what you had said?
No, all along it's been addresses and not TMKs. The state does not collect TMKs. The new system. So
in your response, you say that we do not, in your response to item 3, question 3, second paragraph, you say that we do not capture taxpayers' physical addresses. So what do we collect?
Deputy Director, if I may interject.
Yes, please.
We only have mailing addresses.
Oh, yeah.
And we do not collect property addresses, but starting with the software, not only will taxpayers can live in, California, but ultimately we need to collect the property information that is then driving the income, right? So that's why I'm not able to provide that, the district level reporting, because ultimately we don't know which properties are driving the income. It's just on the taxpayer to self-report how much they make off of their transit accommodations.
Okay, thank you. I didn't pick up on that distinction and was very confused when you were talking about what we collect and what we still need in order to generate. Okay, I don't have anything else, Chair.
Thank you. Member Paulson, Johnson, Rollins, Fernandez.
Thank you, Mr. Neidhart. Just following up on my last round of questions, you said the state has an enforcement arm. Would it make sense to just duplicate that for the county? In terms of legislation, we can say it goes into effect when your software is up and running, but I think personally I would rather be prepared ahead of time and make it be what is that called, work when you guys are ready, but have the legislation in place. And would it make sense to duplicate the state's enforcement actions, but at the county level for the county TAT?
Paul, can I respond to that first, and then you might, council member? One of the things we're looking at is we need to do a reorganization of the TAT section. Right now, TAT is under administration, which makes no sense. It really needs to be a separate, division, if you will. And having said that, we've been talking to Paul, is that we do want to have a compliance section or whatever. Our first kind of feeble attempt is doing a tax auditor 4, which we're trying to get DPS to approve. And that person would start to start that the compliance section up, if you will. But we recognize that this can be a lot. We need to have compliance, and we need to have it more geared like state does. Now, of course, not as large as state, but something like that. So it's not something we haven't thought of, but we don't have the people. That's kind of the biggest thing. We can't do the function unless we have the people. He still only has 5 people, including himself. And we've got one vacancy, which, we're struggling to fill. So in any case, totally agree, but that's kind of the reason. But Paul, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yes, I think you kind of split it into 2 buckets. The first bucket is kind of auditing the documentation that taxpayers are providing to ensure that their self-reported tax is correct and there haven't been any errors made. That's really more of a in-office going through some legalese and tax documentation. And I think what you're getting to is more as far as enforcement arm. That's where we're actually going and starting to enforce or potentially investigate say non-reporting taxpayers. I've gotten a handful of tips, emails from taxpayers saying, so-and-so at these addresses aren't reporting. And ultimately we pass those along to the state. There's actually a hotline that folks can use. But as far as me having personnel or even myself going out and actually, I don't even know what it would look like in terms of, powers that we would need to be able to document, our people staying there on a short.
Is there any opportunity to do like a joint task force? Because I imagine if you folks are looking at similar types of wrongness, that it would be beneficial for the state to have a local arm to work with to enforce. So maybe if we're not there yet with the county creating its own legislation, is there like discussions that could be had with the enforcement arm of the state as to how future collaboration, once you get the staff, it may not be called a tax auditor 4 as we've seen with the land assets acquisition, whatever, I forgot what it is already, but whatever that position gets created be, so that we can correctly describe the position and how it could potentially work with a state enforcement, build out the job that we want to see, so that it's not 100% on the state, not 100% on the county, and they're working in silos investigating maybe a similar circumstance, like we're better together. Any thoughts
Break
on that?
line. I guess that's agreement.
Okay.
No comment.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, council member, I think it's just a matter of getting their agreement. They have not been very amenable to anything we've suggested as a joint venture, I have to say. Unfortunate. So,
And then, I guess, if we were to try and pursue something like this, would it be the administration that heads it up? And would we potentially have better opportunity with a different state administration? And being that this is an election year, could that be a question we ask for, getting elected? Like, what are your policies in collaborating with counties on this issue? I mean, what better time for Civil Beat to like ask that question, or whomever, because just throwing them a bone. But I mean, like, we're trying to figure out how to make this system fair, equitable, up and up. And we really need to work together to do this. So would it be you folks as the administration heading up this type of discussion? Should it be us as the legislative, like talking about it at HSAC conference coming up September 11th, anyone who hasn't registered, on Maui? Or would it be like reporters, or I know Paul knows some good reporter journalistic types, but just throwing it out there, like, how would we proceed to make this be a better collaborative effort? Like, will we have better people to work with it under a different governor, or is that a potential? I didn't fill out that part of my ballot yet.
Council member, I think all of the above it would be useful. I mean, Paul will do his thing when he meets with, the county and the state, but I don't know, to be quite honest, I don't know how effective. I know his predecessor tried that and we weren't necessarily that, successful. But I think that what you mentioned with HSAC or whatever, that might be a very, very useful vehicle.
Noted. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
No, Chair, council members, I think that ultimately, once we start dealing with non-compliant taxpayers, we start to get more into like the investigative positions where are we scraping Airbnb, VRBO to determine, if folks are at a certain property, are renting it out, how are we able to then prove that revenue is generated through those properties and therefore they should be filing taxes. Again, there's it all just comes down to resources and what we're able to, I don't want to say like prove, or we're able to like hold up in court, but ultimately, just off the top of my head, I think it just comes down to I think the state is more established, more heavily resourced, and if they can share the products of that work with us, does that come down the line with them, like folks actually filing late, and then they determine that those late filings were due to, hey, they got and now they're filing taxes from 3 or 4 years ago. Again, that's all we see are the filings coming in, and we collect the taxes and the penalties that are resulting from that.
Thank you. I guess then to just add to that, what I was saying before, we should also work closely with, or I hope that finance and the TAT also works closely with our own planning department because of their software in enforcement of legal short-term rentals. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Next, Member Johnson, then Member Rollins-Fernandez.
Thank you, Chair. All my questions been answered, and I appreciate the department staying with us and informing us. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Member Rollins-Fernandez, followed by Member Cook.
Well, Chair, no additional questions. I think I'll just add that in 2021, when we were making that decision of whether to start as soon as possible, so past the the law in December of 2021 so that we could start collecting county TAT, or, follow Oahu, which was going to wait until they had, everything, their staff all like established and everything. I and the majority of council members at that time, we had the discussion with the administration, and the majority of council members at the time said, we go, let's, start as soon as possible. And I don't regret that. We are, years later, trying to still, massage our way through. And I don't doubt the other counties are also going through this, because this is new. And with every new process, it takes time to, really get it just right. And I'm excited about the software that, I'm sorry, I can't say your last name, that Paul is working on. And I'm excited at like the future potential of this software, not just for TAT, but for other opportunities. So, my apologies to the admin for, but I appreciate the collaboration and continuing to work together on, getting this right. So that it's easy on everyone and that we're all like caught up to speed. But if given the opportunity to do it again, I would have done it the same way. Mahalo.
Thank you. Member Cook, you're next.
Thank you, Chair. So, Director, is there any way that the county audits the state for the TAT collections and distribution? And it sounds like not, and bear with me, because it's the county and the state is putting this burden on the taxpayers. And it's pretty stringent insofar as compliance. And the fact that it is how it is, and I agree with Member Rollins Fernandez that, and I acknowledge you folks, it was started building the plane, while you're flying kind of, so, and not a regret. But I think we have the county government has an obligation to the people who are paying the taxes and to the general citizenry to convey that it's auditable. So the state isn't cooperating, apparently. That's kind of a brief question. No.
I think I wouldn't say they're not cooperating, but they could cooperate more. I think there are things that they could do. And many times when I've had conversations, they've mentioned that they have, a shortage of staff. And of course, we know, Paul knows about that, and we know the county in general knows about that. So I do understand that, but I know when there's been some face-to-face meetings, they haven't necessarily been as, the willingness doesn't appear to be there. Maybe it's changed. I haven't had any conversations recently. And as Paul said, he'll be having a conversation very shortly. So I'm hopeful. But yeah, I think we can do a lot better if we're one unit instead of, just a lot of separate ones. Absolutely.
No, okay, great. And it sounds like, hopefully their computer system and the IT and software, they'll invest in it and get up to speed, because this is a lot of data and reporting. And if it was, I'm a carpenter, so I just outside my lane, but it seems like if you have the right software to manage all of this, that it would not be as people intensive. Anyway, I just thank you for what you're doing and for this. I'm really glad we're having this meeting. It's an eye opener to me, the disconnect between the state and the county. I've heard it before, but this sort of just solidifies it. And I want to just underline the fact that if we're getting 3% and they're getting 11%, then they're getting 3.5 times the income that we're getting. So whatever income we decide to yield on is 3.5 times that overall for the state income. And I don't know, I just like to use all of that stuff to build homes. So thank you very much. That's all I have to offer and ask, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Member Cook, followed by Member Hodges and Sinensi.
Thank you, Chair. I don't think I have any further questions. Thank you for getting us all caught up. If I was on the council back then, I probably would have supported it, doing it ASAP as well, because if not, we just lose out on money. So we can go backwards, but I appreciate this. I guess I do have one quick question. What is the statute of limitations on how far we can go back and collect?
Do you know offhand, Paul? Is it?
I do. It's so it's 3 years from when you file your annual reconciliation. So think of tax day, April 20th, 3 years from that date. So for 2020.
Cool. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you again.
Thank you, Member Sinensi.
No questions, Chair. Thank you for the update.
Thank you. I wonder if it would help if the council through Member Paulton and your communication from the finance department would try to encourage the state of, I think having the tax map keys for every single one of the customers seems almost automatic, but that number one, and number two is to participate in terms of enforcement, because whatever they find out is going to affect us. So you would think that, you know, if we should work together with all the counties. And I wonder, Member Paulton, if we could look at some legislation for the next the next legislative session, if the finance department thinks it makes sense, coming from HSAC.
Are you talking about state legislation?
Yeah.
I think well, I mean, to me, I would start with a conversation with the other counties first, but if finance has ideas as to legislation, I mean, any one of us can put it forward. The deadline for the HSAC package is coming up pretty quick because, you know, the process, we have to approve it to apply to the HSAC, then HSAC narrows it down and sends all of it back to the county, and then we like either approve it, disapprove it, whatever. So I think for this particular legislative session, we're a little behind the curve, but that wouldn't stop any one of us from working with a representative or a senator to do something in their own package, because I think historically that has been kind of more successful. With the HSAC package, it's each of us executive committee members trying to jump off of our council meetings or whatever to provide testimony when they schedule the legislative hearings, which, you know, can be like 24 hours notice or whatever. They're not, they subject us to the Sunshine Law, but they do not follow the same stuff, which is makes it difficult on our end. But I can definitely at our next HSAC executive committee meeting bring up the topic or ask our executive director to put it on the agenda and see, especially if other counties are having better results in dealing with the state than us. Maybe we can see like what they're doing that we're not doing, or if we're all having similar issues, then I think it would be something that all counties could get on board with, like just saying, hey, we just want to work with you, you know, what's your big trips? So I'll try ask Nahe to put it on our next agenda.
You can act there, and then I'll explore on my own. I'll work with finance if Deputy Director Zelinsky or Mr. Newhart would allow to explore this further. And thank you. All right, members, any more questions? This is Member Kwatanga.
Paul, can you tell us how to pronounce your last name?
It's Neidhart.
Neidhart. Just wanted to say thank you. Appreciate all the work that you're doing, you and the department, but I know how to say Zelinsky.
All right, anybody else have any last comments? Yeah, thank you very much. This is a great follow-up and to really introduce where we are, because I think we were struggling through this earlier. All All right, members, this is a 7B, so no action will be taken. This meeting is now adjourned.
Bye-bye.